What up? What up? Welcome to Water for the Thirsty. The word
Yeah, it's not
simply,
giving
the
me, it's
word.
not matching up my voice with the thing.
Uh, with us tonight is Jerry and Kenrick. But Kenrick is in a
Yeah,
low
I'm the
internet
voice. I'm the voice from
place.
above.
He's a voice from above. So to keep him in the conversation, we just filtering in his voice tonight. So to keep his internet connection solid. I do expect the bishop tonight, and I think Courtney is going to be with us as well. But we keep our fingers crossed for that. Um, but yeah, man, how you guys been since the last time we were together, 2 weeks ago? How's it been?
Pretty
How's
good,
it
man.
been?
Pretty good.
We good, man. No
Aches and
complaints.
pains of old age, but pretty good.
That's what's up. This
You
is the
ain't
first
old,
week in
dog.
a while where I'm like, um, I'm not at the end of the week dragging over the finish line. You know, I am tired, but I'm not dragging over the finish line this week, so that's good. Since the last time we
Yeah.
got together, we closed out the writings of Paul, and then went back into Matthew, and we've been in the Kings at the time of Amos and now Isaiah. So conversation going to come from there, and then we closed out the book of Proverbs, and so conversation is going to come from there. I'm going to allow the voice from above, on high, from a distance, from afar, to lead our conversation tonight. Kevin, talk to me. Since the last time we
All
met,
right.
what you've been seeing here and looking at in the world?
Hello, everyone. How are you? The I was gonna go further, but I shouldn't. Anyway, um, Isaiah, Isaiah
Mm-hmm.
7, kind of, kind of. So I got some questions.
All right.
First of all, I just want to thank the Lord that we're done with Paul. So I want
Why?
I want to I want to
You're
give I
still
want to give
fighting with
all I want to
Pablo?
give all praise to God. Allah. I want to give like we ain't no more Paul, so I'm good with that.
Are you still
Now we're
fighting
not.
with Pablo?
You know what? I think we landed that ship. I think your assessment was correct in that I didn't have a issue with Paul. I have an issue with the people and how they respond to Paul.
Okay. All right. But you're still glad we're done with him because you're done with those people.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
All
So
right.
now with Isaiah,
All right.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually don't mind reading Isaiah. I enjoy reading it. Um, the I enjoy the I think God's just being very consistent. He's pissed. He's annoyed. He's frustrated with these people, and but also leaving room for them to just make their way back after he does some things. So I like the way Isaiah reads. The the interesting thing about it is so in chapter 7, I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to figure out what this prophecy was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, after you have you got the king of Syria, the king of what was it? King of Syria, it was king of Judah
Mm-hmm.
that were coming after the king of Israel. I think it was it Rezin with Syria. Can't remember who was Judah. I guess I should get there. Um, but I guess the thing was it was going to be closer down to where the prophecy came about, uh, where I guess God was telling Isaiah, was he communicating directly with Isaiah or communicate with Ahaz? Ahaz, yes, Ahaz. Um, that the um, you know, it was a prophecy about Emmanuel, the virgin having a son. His name was going to be Emmanuel, and then it was a prophecy that Ahaz was supposed to see. And so I was going through it, and I was just like, man, how is see something and be assured that he was going to get victory over these two kings when the prophecy that was called out is something that's not going to happen for hundreds of years. And so I was kind of going back and forth with that for a couple of days. So that was.
And did you get an answer?
I did, but I'm curious as to what you guys think before, or anybody in the chat, what they think before I go through that.
What do you think, Jerry?
This whole issue of God's patience. I don't want to say you know what it took me back to? You remember when God was again tired with Israel, and Moses was pleading for them, right? And it's almost like God is saying, I know when. Well, it's not almost like he's saying, I know when there won't be a positive change or a positive outcome from this, so I'm gonna change course. I've done all I can do. I knew this would be the end anyway, but I was doing all of this just so you could see. And it's like Moses didn't accept that. God went on and on and on, but then at the end of the day, it was just what Joshua and Caleb who made it in, right? So I feel like sometimes, even in his mercy or his patience, God is showing us this is where the line is drawn, and it's our choice to accept that or not. Where I'm having a little bit of hesitancy with that is it's always a difficult thing because it's almost like you're prescribing judgment on somebody else. And it's, that's a slippery slope, right? Once you start trying to determine, okay, well, if Jared is doing this, then surely, or if Jerry is doing this, then because I get, it's funny, just this week we had a conversation in the office about that, where God, even in the days when, who was it? What was Esther's husband again?
The king of Persia.
Yeah, not Cyrus. Xerxes. In the midst of Xerxes wilding out, as he was wilding out, God referred to him as his servant, right?
Right.
Because there were things that in his wilding out, God told him to do, and he did it. And then this other text we read where one of the Jewish kings, the nation was in a period of prayer and fasting, that the whole high day in Zion, I think it was an Egyptian pharaoh went to attack somebody else. He decides to intervene, and the pharaoh is saying to him, hey, I'm just doing what your God told me to do.
Right.
Correct.
And he decides, your God could not. I know my God. I just was praying and fasting, and jumps in and he gets slaughtered, right? So I know God knows the end. I know he can draw a line in the sand, and it's like, okay, this is when it's done. But us understanding the implications of that and knowing when it's definitive and trying to act accordingly is where the whole concept of his patience kind of, it gets a little gray for me.
So my Bible has a line here, Kendrick, verse 16. Even before then, the lands of the two kings you fear will be ruined. And I think about when disciples asked Jesus, when will these things be and what will be the sign of your coming? Right?
Sure.
And Jesus goes on to say some things, And he kind of merges them all together. Depending on who you are and when you heard this, you kind of get one understanding. And then depending
Correct.
on when you live, you read it and you realize, oh, he was merging the two answers together in one and didn't really give you a
Correct.
linear description of what was going to take place. Right. And I get the sense from a lot of these prophecies that God has kind of talked like that. He's dropped little things here and there, but then the whole aspect of timing is not always immediately obvious or clear, and sometimes it's what we get the benefit of hindsight to delineate that maybe the person hearing may or may not have understood. I did not get the sense, um, even though he gave this prophecy that God was saying, "You will see this part." And I get that because of the language of verse 16, even before then.
You
Lord will
did
also.
not get. Hold on, you said you did not get
I
the
did
sense
not get
what?
the sense that the intent was for Ahaz to see the virgin birth.
I agree.
All right.
I think we can definitely agree on that.
Yeah. And for me, that was because of the way he phrased 16 and 17.
But there was a prophecy there. Because
Yes.
it was very clear that you're going to, and so I was trying to figure that out. So that was like, all right, we know Ahaz wasn't going to see the virgin birth based upon just time, right? And then you kind of just started breaking everything down. It took I was praying about it. It took a couple days. I talked to Jewel. We were going back and forth, and then back to it, and it kind of made sense.
Tell me about it.
Okay.
So it starts at verse 3 is important because it said, then the Lord. So Isaiah chapter 7,
7 verse 3.
verse 3. Then the Lord said to Isaiah, take your son, Jashub, and go out Ahaz. And tells him where he's going to find him. So number one, I think that's significant. Because I'm not sure how many times.
Shares Jashub mean?
Was that again?
What does share Jashub mean?
I think it says it later on. I thought it said it and gave a meaning. Shares that, maybe not. Maybe that was his brother. Then the next chapter.
Remnant shall return.
Right.
So the name means a remnant shall return.
Okay. So the fact that he told him to take his son, I thought was significant because I don't think that really happens often. Right. And typically in these types of things, if God is telling a prophet to do something, there's some other things going on. Without reading the whole thing, so he says, take your son, go out to meet King Ahaz. I'm sorry, take your son, talking to Isaiah, go out meet King Ahaz. You'll find him at the end of the pool. Verse 4, tell him to stop worrying. Tell him he doesn't need to fear the fierce anger of these two burnt out embers, King Rezin of Syria and Pekah, son of Ramel. Yes, the kings of Israel are plotting against him, saying, we will attack Judah and capture it for ourselves. Then we will install the son of Tabeel as Judah's king. Verse 7, but this is what the sovereign Lord says. This invasion will never happen. It will never take place. For Syria is no stronger than its capital, Damascus, and Damascus is no stronger than King Rezin. So he's already telling them it ain't happening, right? As for Israel, within 65 years, it'll be crushed, completely destroyed. No longer, Israel is no stronger than its capital, Samaria, and Samaria is no stronger than that. Anyway, unless your faith is firm, I cannot make you stand firm. Another crucial statement, right? So I need you to believe this. And unless you don't, unless you believe it with all that you got, I can't, you're going to have to operate under this assumption, right? Is what I'm requiring you to do. Verse 10. Later, the Lord sent this message to Ahaz, asked the Lord for a sign of confirmation. Thought this was pretty cool. Make it as difficult as one, as high as the heaven, or deep as the place of the dead. I wish God would ask me or tell me to ask him for a sign sometimes, because I don't like asking for signs. I think we had that conversation one time.
He ain't gonna ask you to give him no sign.
Yeah,
I mean, he ain't
yeah.
gonna ask you to test him like that.
No,
You go
and
come
the
up with
king
something
refused.
outlandish.
Oh, 100%. Like, bring Halle Berry to the front door, and then whatever. Maybe not. I won't ask that one. No, I won't ask that one.
Wow.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Probably.
That's why he would never ask me to. He would never.
God doesn't want to lead anybody into sin, right? So yeah.
No, exactly. That's no, Jewel. So, but the king refused. No, he said, I will not test the Lord like that. Then Isaiah said, well, listen well, you royal family of David, which I don't know if that's really a harsh criticism, but isn't it enough to exhaust human patience? Must you exhaust the patience of my God as well? All right, then the Lord himself will give you the sign. So now he's going to give him the sign that what he said was true. The virgin will conceive a child. She will give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel. By the time this child is old enough to choose what is right and reject what is wrong, he will be eating yogurt and honey. For before the child is that old, the lands of the two kings you fear so much will be both deserted. So I was like, this doesn't make any sense. How is that a sign? Going back to my original, how is that a sign for he's going to see this child Emmanuel? Like, it's never gonna happen. But
so that's
was that?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead when you finish.
So there are two things that stood out. One, I remember that they brought this kid, right?
Yes.
And it said before the child is old is that. So it's almost like he brought the kid as a prop. So you have this prophecy that talks about things, but then it switches back and references. He's now referencing this kid that was there. I then went back, ChatGPT, like roughly how, when did this take place? When was Syria over by the Assyrians? When was Judah taken over by the Assyrians? And approximately when did this conversation with Ahaz take place? And I think it landed like 735 BC. I think I think Syria was taken over at 732, and they were estimating that Judah was taken over like 725, 720, something like that.
Okay.
And so then I was like, so then we kept reading, and then as you get down, I think it goes to verse 22. It says, nevertheless, there will be enough milk for everyone, because so few people will be left in the land. They will eat their fill of honey, right? Like, oh, so they will eat fill of yogurt and honey. And then you go back and reference what they said about the kid, the two kids. I mean, you go back up and say, look at verse, where are we just now? 15. By the time the child is old enough to choose what is right and reject what is wrong, he will be eating yogurt and honey. The key word here was the is. And I thought, the way I looked at it and see it is like, it looks like he transitions from the prophecy about the Emmanuel and the virgin conceiving the child, and he transitions over, and he's now kind of almost like pointing to the kid that's there, Isaiah's son, and referencing him as a prop, right? And so now bringing reality to the prophecy and saying, all right, when this child, for the child is that old, the lands of the two kings you fear so much will both be deserted. then the Lord will bring these things on you, your nation and your family, unlike anything since Israel broke away from Judah. He will bring the king of Assyria upon you. In that day, the Lord will whistle for the army of southern Egypt and for the army of Assyria. They will swarm around you like flies and bees. And I was like, now it kind of makes sense. Now you kind of put an age this kid. You know, he's got a son. How old does it take to understand right and wrong? Right? I don't know. 12, 13, 14, 15, 18. I don't know what it is. Right? But now it puts a timeline on it. And so when you go match that timeline up with when the Assyrians took over Judah and they took over Syria, now it's like, oh, this isn't about, there were two prophecies here, right? There was a prophecy about the Virgin Mary, but there's also the prophecy about where that Ahaz actually can see and witness and will be around for, and that was a timeline where the child will be old enough to know right, to reject what is wrong, and all of that stuff happened with that time period. Did that make sense?
Yes, except I was just doing ChatGPT on the Hebrew there and asked what's the tense of verse 15, and it says that the primary verb is in the quick tense, which generally corresponds to a future tense. Because my translation says not he is, but he will be. He will still be very young when he can decide between right and wrong.
So this is where I was kind of going with this, right? It's like everything happens in the spiritual realm before it does in the physical. So God's saying to me, I'm going to see something. I'll be interested to see what the Hebrew word there is and what the literal interpretation is. So it's like all the stuff that Ezekiel saw, John saw, they saw it, although it was thousands and thousands of years away from happening, right? But he gave them dreams, vision. Same thing with Daniel looking at the image that was made and all that. God allows you to see it in some sense. And then I kind of feel like after letting you see it in some sense, he gives you breadcrumbs, for want of a better terminology. Little indications that are showing you, okay, this is where enough breadcrumbs in your lifetime so that even if this is something outside of your life, you have enough breadcrumbs in your life to stay faithful to whatever he showed you. Because he might just give you a vision, he might give you a dream, and then he's gonna, even within your lifetime, give you breadcrumbs to say, okay, this is gonna be the outcome of this situation, this is the fate of these people, whatever the case is. That's at least that's how I look at it. And then sometimes, go ahead.
So I guess my only thing when he's talking here, like he's being very specific, like you need to trust me.
Mm-hmm.
And if so he's telling him these things are going to happen, right? If you don't believe me, test me. You're going to see these things happen. And he's talking about these things are going to happen to your kingdom. Like it's not even like he's saying this is going to happen in the future, this nation and all. Like he's saying this is going to happen and you're going to see it. And you don't have to worry about these two kings coming and doing anything, even though you hear them talking and all this rhetoric's going on now. You don't have to worry about them doing it because they're not going to do it. And to prove it to you, this is what's going to happen. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that's what threw me off. Like proving that it's not that this is going to happen because it didn't say Ahaz had a vision or saw a dream or anything. It was just said that God came and told him a couple things, right? So it's like this was supposed to be very relevant to something that he was going to have to witness for himself at that particular time. I think that's my pushback.
So I asked our friend
Uncle Chat.
I asked Uncle Chat. I said, reconcile God saying he will give Ahaz a sign, but then prophesying about the virgin birth in Hebrews in verse 10 to 17. And he said, I guess it's a favor mention. We're not the only people to wrestle with this. He offers the setting. God sends, okay, Ahaz is terrified because Syria and Israel have formed an alliance to invade Judah. God sends Isaiah to reassure Ahaz that the invasion will fail, and God offers Ahab a sign, any sign to prove this. Then they give the verses. Reconciliation, immediate versus ultimate fulfillment, and the dual audience of you. In the Hebrew, the you of verse 14 is plural. Not just Ahaz, but the whole house of David. This suggests, so if we read it as it says,
yeah, what's the you? I will give, the Lord himself will give
13.
you the sign.
Let's go back to 13. Sorry, hold on. Let's go back to 13. And I'm going to read it how I understand what they say in here. Then Isaiah said, listen, you members of the royal family of David. So that's a plural you. Isn't it enough for you all to test the patience of human beings? Are you all also going to test the patience of God? The Lord himself will give you all a sign. And so it's talking about the house of David, not just Ahaz, is what it's implying here, because that you in verse 14, the Lord himself will give you a sign, is not you singular Ahaz, but you all plural house of David.
Okay.
And the note here says, this suggests that the sign is not just for Ahaz, but for a broader group across time. This opens the door to a double fulfillment, an immediate one for Ahaz and an ultimate one for Israel. So it's
Agreed. I'm with you on that. That all makes sense to me.
All right. So the next point, it says immediate fulfillment. Ahaz's time. The birth of a child, possibly Isaiah's own son or another symbolic child, will occur shortly. And before he matures, the threat from Syria and Israel will vanish, fulfilled 2 years later, based on your mathematics and your estimate.
And then he had another kid shortly after this. So we had this son, and then he had another kid another kid in chapter 8, I believe. Was it chapter 8 or
Right.
chapter 9?
Yes.
But I think the thing is that I think he slept with his wife. So that's not it wasn't conceived by a virgin, which is why I was like, it can't be that.
Right, but it's two things happening. It's like, when you lump two things in one, because that's what it's saying is a double fulfillment, because it's the birth of a child, and he's wrapping it up in the illustration of the future thing. So he's saying more than one thing. I think part of it is the challenge of the translation. To be completely honest, some of the nuance may be lost, but the birth of a child would occur shortly is one of the things he's saying, and he's also saying that a virgin will be born in the future. Either way,
did it say shortly?
So I'll just read this as it. The birth of a child, possibly Isaiah's own son or another symbolic child, will occur shortly. And before he matures, the threat from Syria and Israel will vanish, fulfilled 2 years later. The sign in this context is not just the virgin birth, but the timing. Before the child matures, the current threat will be gone.
Well, so that's why I'm saying when you're reading it, the significance here is the fact that he brought his young son there, right?
Correct.
So, and it seems like he's referencing that young son as he's providing the timeline.
This
right? That's
what I was saying, Jared, is kind of like breadcrumbs to me, right? He will reveal it because God teaches us by instruction or revelation. And the things he can reveal to us, I don't know, it could be in a dream, it could be just him having a conversation or whatnot. And in my mind, it's like his word is so, this is the same words he spoke everything into existence with, right? So the fact that he says anything to you is you could take that to the bank. But then you see where he also gives you breadcrumbs to, kind of bolster your faith, if if you want to put it that way, right? Because it's like he even told the children of Israel, this land is yours, you will possess it, all of that. They send the 12 spies in, 10 of them get nervous, get shaky, in spite of the breadcrumbs he gives them. It still ended up being theirs, but then they just had to circle the mountain
That's what
for
I'm saying.
40
So
years because
so
they,
it
they
became theirs. I guess my thing is that what I'm trying to figure out and rationalize is that there's specific timelines he's giving. Right.
Mhm.
He's kind of they're points of reference that he's providing in this particular thing. When this happens, you will know this happens because the this child, right, will be able to discern right from wrong, right?
Mhm.
Is essentially what he's saying. So it's giving a time as based upon age, right? And then when you go back and match that timeline with what happened, um, it happened within like a 10 to 12 year period from when this prophecy was, roughly from when this prophecy was provided.
but you see the breadcrumbs, right? You see the symbols
I
in
see. I don't see. So I guess I don't see breadcrumbs here. I see the breadcrumbs when, like, with the other examples you use. That makes sense to me because there was no necessarily defined period. It was saying, "I'm going to give
Mhm.
this to you," right? Um,
But in this instance, it's a lot more. I don't know if ambiguous is the word, but yeah, it doesn't
um,
come through as definitively, right?
correct.
Seems like more of a stretch. Okay. So with some things, I just try to find what is the pattern, and then of course I would contrast that to even my own experience where there are things God said to me when I was a kid, and decades later I finally saw it, right? But interestingly enough, prior to seeing it, there'd always be crumbs along the way, and there's some things I'm still waiting to see. But to your point here with the timelines and that's why, Jared, I was curious about the actual words used, or what the literal meaning is, if there was something that in this translation is being overlooked, or even if not overlooked, it's downplayed. And then if you get it in the original Hebrew, it gives you a different connotation, right?
So I asked Kenrick follow-up question because the AI is suggesting that there are at least three possible candidates for the interpretations of the mediate child. Isaiah's other son, the one is born in chapter 8, a royal child.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think Inquire, but it suggests that that has some problems chronologically, and then an unnamed symbolic child representing divine assurance. Um, so I asked, why isn't Isaiah's son that he brought a consideration? And it said that it suggests anyway that like 5 reasons why why it is unlikely to be the son that he brought. In verse 3, uh, Isaiah's son, the one he brings, accompanies Isaiah as a living child. He's already been born and is old enough to walk and stand with his father. But Isaiah 7:14 speaks of a future birth. The virgin shall conceive. This rules out share as the subject of the prophecy. It's not retroactive. Conclusion: he's too old already here, not a fulfillment of a yet to happen conception. There's a name mismatch. He's not called Emmanuel. The prophecy says the child will be named Emmanuel, meaning God with us. Isaiah's son is named Shear Jasub, meaning a remnant shall return. The theme is judgment and hope. For Isaiah's son's name, Emmanuel, is divine presence and assurance. The prophecy gives a specific name tied to the sign, and the son doesn't match. The prophecy involves time maturity milestone before the boy knows how to refuse evil and choose good. This language implies that the child in view is not yet born, will be a marker of time, and will track geopolitical events surrounding Judah. So that makes him too old. He's not a sign, but a witness or a symbol. Functionally different roles in the narrative. Isaiah's son, I say that because I can't pronounce his name, functions like a silent visual prophecy. His presence speaks. Emmanuel is the focus of an actual birth prophecy. Both sons serve different symbolic and literary roles. Later contrast with another son. In Isaiah 8, Isaiah has another son born after this prophecy with a similar time-based functions. Before the boy knows how to cry, mother or father, the wealth of Damascus and spoil will be carried away. This son, not the first one, is used as a short-term fulfillment of the Emmanuel-like timing, which would make sense considering that's the very next thing that the writer goes into, right? Like soon after they give the full prophecy, here is this fulfillment in another child that's being born.
But I guess my only pushback to that is none of them. So I guess I can't follow. I can't follow the fact that they're very specific in telling him you will witness something, right? And the one something that he will witness is something that's happening for hundreds of years.
Right.
And both sons were not conceived immaculately. I mean, it might have been great, but I don't know if it was immaculate.
So I'm gonna borrow your phrase and go. Depends on where the emphasis is being placed on the syllable, right? So
okay.
Our emphasis is the virgin birth. In terms of us trying to process this prophecy and try to make sense of it. What if the emphasis for Ahaz is not the virgin birth, but the timing of the birth and the timing of the growth of the child?
That's what I was asking.
That's what I was saying.
That might have some.
So there's the prophecy of the. So there's the single prophecy that the first half of it is for the house of David for time, and the second half of it, or at least the part of it, is for Ahaz for now, and not the whole thing 1-to-1 is for Ahaz at all.
So we're on the same page with that. I 100% agree with that. I don't think that the birth was something that was. I think your assessment is right on when it comes to that. I'm focused on Ahaz is focused on the second part, because the second part is the thing that's most relevant to Ahaz. The second part is providing the timeline that God is saying, where God is coming to him and saying, "Hey, where does it go? It's what was it? Verse 7.
Verse 14. Verse 7.
Verse 7. It says, "This invasion will never happen. It will never take place." So God is coming here saying, like, you don't have to worry about them diamonds right now. It's not going to happen, right? And he's giving him the reason why it's not going to happen, right? And then he comes down and he was like, now confirm that this ain't going to happen, right? Ask me for a confirmation. So this is like he's talking to him in real time, saying, I'm telling you this, and if you don't believe me, ask me. And he's like, nah, I'm not going to test you. Right? So he's not looking for, like, this isn't a conversation about trying to figure something out. Like God is being very clear. Like, I'm going to let you that you don't have to worry about these in real time.
Right. Time being the thing here. Okay.
Time being the thing. Like in real time, I'm letting you know here and now that you don't have to worry about these two guys that are right now plotting on you, and you are actively worried about it. You don't have to worry about that. Right?
Right.
Which is why
Right.
my focus wasn't on Emmanuel. My focus was on, by the time the child is old enough to choose what is right, reject what is wrong. Which is like, all right, so if I read between the lines, why is there a child? Why is there a child standing there? Why is Isaiah bringing? Why did God tell Isaiah to bring his son if if he wasn't crucial to what was going on? It wasn't like, he had a car.
A separate question. I asked a separate question, and I might be able to now address that because I skipped over that. I skipped to the second question I asked. So the first one I asked was, is there any significance for Isaiah bringing his son? Which is, I guess, what we asked him. Said, yes, Isaiah bringing his son is deeply significant, both symbolically and contextually, not just a throwaway detail. Let's unpack it. So they give the verse, they give his name and its meaning. A remnant shall return is the prophetic naming, a hallmark of Isaiah's ministry. So why is his presence significant? Isaiah doesn't say the kid spoke, just bringing him physically to the meeting with AM acts like a walking sermon. Look, Ahaz, whatever happens, a remnant will survive. God's promise won't be extinguished by this crisis. It's a visual reference that the Davidic line won't be destroyed. Judah's story isn't over. Now the now the virgin being born makes more sense. Judah's story isn't over, even if the judgment comes. God is still faithful to his covenant promise. Which is why you say a virgin will be born, because that shows how long this line is going to last.
Correct.
So this visual of the one son that he did bring, saying that the remnant will last, and now we point into how at least how long it's gonna last, right? Till this virgin, till God comes, right? That's the prophecy. Foreshadowing judgment and hope. At this point in the book, Assyria is about to dominate the region. The name of remnant shall return hints that the exile is coming, but also return and hope after the judgment. So the son warns of a coming judgment. Not everyone will be saved, but declares that God will preserve a remnant. It blends both a warning and comfort, twin themes of Isaiah's ministry. And then in verse 3, the bridge to Emmanuel, which I just saw for myself, but it's not going to describe. There's a sequence of 3 named children, each with prophetic significance. The first son, a remnant shall return, judgment and hope. Emmanuel, God with us, divine presence. And then the third son, swift to plunder, imminent destruction. Isaiah's sons plus the Emmanuel child form a symbolic narrative. God will swiftly judge the second child, yet God is still with his people, the virgin child, the child born of the virgin, and he will preserve a faithful remnant, the one who is standing present. Theological implications. By bringing the child to the meeting, Isaiah embed God's long-term plan into Ahaz's short-term panic. God isn't just managing politics, he's unfolding redemptive history. So he's like showing that this is bigger than just this moment right now. I know you're worried about this moment, but I'm playing long game, which I now get to see. It visually connects the king's decisions, trust God versus trust Assyria, to the fate of the nation. So conclusion, Isaiah bringing the child is highly significant. His presence is a living prophecy, wordless yet powerful reminder that God will preserve a faithful remnant, a call to Ahaz and to us to trust God's long-range promises, not immediate political alliances. Okay, Sully?
Yeah, okay, I'm here.
Now, that is what was offered to us. We can now decide whether we accept it or reject it or whatever.
Understood.
So I
Did we lose Kendrick? Nope.
No, he's thinking.
no, I'm
No,
here.
he's still.
I have some. That's all.
That was Cliff's music, his background music.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Just trying to get rid of all that stuff. Hold on.
Or Cliff has been a voice from on
You
high
got
as
the,
well.
you got the
Yeah.
lights low, dog. You got the lights low.
Yeah.
You got the lights low and the wine and the Sabbath wine.
Yeah, make sure the camera's off, Cliff.
Well, see, the thing about that was at first I thought that based on the conversation that you guys have been having, that maybe I had done something wrong and God was trying to show me something because I couldn't get my camera on in the southwestern hemisphere of the world. But then I heard the blasphemous tones coming from Kenrick. It is northeastern.
No. Oh.
And his career was out. So I figured that it was just an electricity thing that was going on. So, I felt better after that point.
Yeah, when
What's
you're
going on,
when you're
Jim?
using
What you
when
got
you're
for
using
me,
me as
man?
the benchmark.
Say it again.
That when you're using me as the you're in a space.
Watch out. No. Always good to use you, man. Yeah, just having technical difficulties, fellas, but I'm here.
No worries, I appreciate you. Yeah, Kendrick, you were saying you put him back a little bit.
Kendrick?
Oh, I thought somebody else something. No.
I was saying
I just
you were about to push back?
Delay. Yeah, I just have a big delay.
Okay.
So no, I was saying that I guess I'm still trying to understand the significance of the specifics of the timeline. So I guess based upon where we landed thus far, I definitely agree, or I can understand, I should say, the assessment that was put forth, right? How it's pointing to this virgin conceiving a child, how it's giving the assurance that this line is all of that makes sense. What I guess where I'm still trying to understand is the specific timeline and how Ahaz was supposed to understand that continue to understand, I guess, another level of understanding or assurance. You have to worry about these two kings, right? It's not just a line, because he would have stopped there, right? There was the second part of it was, very definitive on a timeline. I guess that's my second, the final thing I have.
I think it follows through to 8:4.
The chapter 8?
Yeah. Yeah, it goes through, I think, to chapter 4. Which is probably why it's all in one, and it's just, we have it separated in two. So it's entirely likely that a virgin being born is that a child will be born, You just enter a child here. No, the virgin birth is to show, hey, I'm going to preserve this line, David. But for you, Ahaz, a child will be born. And before that child gets to this thing will be done. The next chapter is Isaiah talking about what God did with him and his child that will be born. And before that child comes, or is able, is around the same kind of timelines, before this boy knows to say my father or my mother, what I prophesied is going to happen will happen, which is why.
So you're saying the child is for Ahaz?
No, the child is for Isaiah.
Okay.
But it becomes the child that it becomes a child that can fulfill the prophecy from the standpoint of the timeline. So if you go back to okay, then I won't go and restate it. I was gonna try to repackage it.
No, repackage, because there might be people out there that. But I hear what you're saying.
Verse 14. Yeah, verse 14 speaks about a child will be born. Let's take out the by a virgin part. Like if it didn't say by a virgin, we could easily conclude that a child is going to be born soon, and before that child could be 2, this thing will be over. The next chapter talks about God telling Isaiah to name his child this, have that child be born, and then makes another prophecy about that child and along the same timelines. So Ahaz would probably get to see Isaiah's child being born, and that child, and the fact that before Isaiah's child is even born, because he already came with one child, now he's getting the other one. So it's entirely possible that, just the connection to Isaiah and his children become on our part of the story. It's reading into it, but it's a fairly reasonable read in, I would think. And this is me just thinking off the top of my head based on what Uncle Chat did say over there. I can see that logic, that train of thought, particularly understanding how these Bible writers write and how when they write, they include the stuff that they think is relevant to what they're saying.
So I went through and asked, at what age, is there a specific age within Jewish culture and tradition where a child knows right from wrong? And that age is 12. Right, before the age of 12 is what it says.
Okay.
So once again, I'm just trying to apply timelines here. 13 years old for boys, marked by the bar mitzvah, and 12 years old for girls, marked by the bat mitzvah.
Right. And it was faster than that based on the history. So it was like even before that, the child even got to be fully grown. So either way, the prophecy works because it's not saying it will be when it's saying before he.
Correct. Right. Agreed. Correct. Okay.
Thank you for forcing us to do that kind of contextual reading, because I know I would have just skipped over this and go, nice story, next. But going through the motions of context and language and stories and connections and tying into other parts of the Bible is always helpful in making sense of what's being read. So
I'm still just trying to see if we can pick up on cues of a pattern in how God operates and reveals things. So it came together really nicely in this context. I'm just, I guess, still looking at.
I give you a pattern that I notice. He uses stories and illustrations. He likes pictures and images. And he's intentional about the images that he chooses. He's very, 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 very intentional. And he uses these, I would call them information rich or really powerful images that make his point. For example, I am not sure that Jesus and the Father have a father-son relationship exactly, but a father-son relationship illustrates the nature of the relationship that Jesus has with his Father.
Gotcha.
In the same way, a husband-wife relationship would illustrate the relationship that God has with his people.
What is a father-son relationship exactly? Like
I
you're
think
saying
the
based
dynamics
upon
of a father-son relationship have to do with the father caring and concern about him, about the son belonging to the father, coming out of the father, being a part of the father. Um, you know, like all of those things can be extracted out of the relationship. There's also a respect. There's respect and obedience, and deference, right? There's also inheritance, right? Right and rights that are inherent as a result of that. And so, like those types of things, this illustration helps to communicate. Um,
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I think about even when he was, like you just think about the he wanted to tell Pharaoh about the famine. Hey, Sharika, he wanted to tell Pharaoh about the famine, and what he used, he used skinny cows being eating up fat cows, right? And then ears of corn eating up other ears of corn. Like those imageries are powerful and they're representative of what is about to happen, right?
So tying in we see that pattern, but in the context of how he is revealing things, is it that he will, like I said, he will let you see it in one way or the other just through this powerful imagery, or let you see um again, I'm going back to that word, crumbs of it, like Isaiah's son is partially a fulfillment, but also a crumb of this is what's going to happen down the road anyway. Is it that we could just say, well, all right, as we dive into other things, we see a similar pattern of here's a good image that represents it, or usually and here's crumbs that let you give you some confidence that yeah, this is how this is gonna happen.
Or the image is perfect and we just don't fully appreciate it at given moment. So like as the guy who's creating the image, this gives exactly what I need.
Right.
Everything you need out of this is here in this image. Just at different stages of life, you may not fully appreciate the depth and the significance of it, right?
Okay.
But the image lasts. And so it lasts from your time when you only had a piece understanding of it to when now more light is given, the image is just as rich, right? It's not any less rich or provide any more. You don't need additional information. You just have a better understanding of the image coming from the person who understands the thing. It's kind of like when you're drawing Pictionary and you think your
in
image,
your head, you think, yeah, it's the perfect thing.
right? And then when you figure out what it is, you go, yeah, I can see that, or nah, that don't that not gonna work, right? But if you understood what he was saying from before, you can see why this image feels sufficient, right?
Gotcha.
Oh, but it's also, isn't it just so, context, time, all that stuff matters. And so
Correct.
when you're reading these things, like, there are times when the prophecy is not necessary. It's he's telling it to somebody, but it's for something in the future that other people will need to pay attention to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's sometimes where prophecy is like, I need this person at this particular time to understand what I'm doing. And it's not for necessarily everybody else. It's for this particular person.
Right.
Right. And so the context is going to be a little very specific. So that person can clearly understand what it is that God is saying. Whereas, to Jerry's point, when we're talking about, Daniel and the image, right? That was to Daniel, communicating to Daniel, and the image was a direct correlation to, all these things that were, that had happened with Nebuchadnezzar and all. But it also was significant for us and simple enough to a certain extent for us to understand, right? Especially now that we go back and we can put together, historical timelines that match and show that this happened here, this happened here, this happened here. So I think it just depends on
The
who it's
audience.
going to, the audience, correct? The intended audience, yes.
Right. All I was saying is that the image is sufficient for both audiences, for all the audiences. That's what I was saying. Because Jerry's question was what pattern develops with God. I'm saying that you go through all these. Yes, Carrick did make it to heaven before us. Him and Cliff. The pattern that
you're welcome.
The pattern that develops for me is that the image that he provides is sufficient to the audiences, to whichever audience, the immediate audience, the future audience. It's mindful of the audience and sufficient. Like when he says he chose Pharaoh, right, for this moment in time to make his name great. He had in mind the children of Israel as an audience, the Egyptians as an audience, the neighboring people as an audience, and then the future generations who will hear the story as an audience. And the imagery of the children of Israel walking through the Red Sea and that sort of deliverance becomes a powerful image for all the audiences, regardless of the context and the nuances for each audience.
Correct.
And so I say he's very intentional about choosing his images for all his audiences. Yeah. Which is kind of sick, though. I mean, in sick in a cool way. It's kind of cool. Mustard seed faith. We still talked about, the mustard seed faith and the size of the mustard seed, or the sower and the seed. When Jesus tells that story, that those images are pervasive. So yeah.
Agreed.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
If God was, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
If God were to spell out everything specifically, wouldn't he then be perceived as being biased? Or, wouldn't that play right into the statement that was made against him by the enemy? If he spelled everything out, because if we're supposed to be intelligent, free will thinking beings, if somebody spells everything out to you and you follow it, aren't you now like an automaton? Don't you have to make decisions on your own?
I don't know what automaton is.
So,
but how is it being spelled out to you? Right? If it's being spelled out to you, you're still choosing in your free will to follow it. So how is the fact that it's kind of like, Siri telling you, or whatever, GPS telling you 400 meters turn right. You could choose to turn right or not, but the fact that it's giving you very detailed instructions, I'm just trying to follow why those detailed instructions equate to you not having free will.
Automaton.
No, I'm asking the question in reference to some things seeming like a mystery, or some things not seen as plain.
Right.
Like when he's specifically, just like when he's being specific to Jerry, he's specific. It is clearly spelled out. This is what's going to happen. However, when it comes to like everyone, it may not be so clearly stated.
Right.
And I was wondering, while we were talking, if that could be a possible reason for it.
I hear what you say. I think I hear what you're saying, Cliff, and I'm gonna use this illustration to kind of see if I lean into what you're saying. All right. In addition to being intentional about the imagery to encapsulate the message he wants to communicate, he also is intentional about just how much information he gives and how much information he thinks is necessary. And I think going into what I want to talk about next, and I think what Cliff appears to be leaning into is there's also a priority of fostering thought, deeper thought, critical thinking, and trust. And so if I spoon feed you and give you all the details, now you don't have to think. You know, you don't have to exercise that muscle. And when I give you a certain amount of information, I'm giving you what you need because I'm also trying to facilitate trust in this relationship. And I'm gonna go to Eve in the garden. The day you eat of it, you shall surely die. Is enough information for you to trust me, right? The additional information of the tree is not going to kill you, the fruit is not going to kill you. Eating the fruit, you're not going to drop down and dead, right? That information that the devil comes and supplies, right? Opening your mind, knowing good and evil, you know, and if you keep eating from the tree, you'll live for even longer, right? It's not information that is necessary for the development of trust. Because what he said is true. The day you eat of it, you will die. Not that you will drop down dead, right? And so I think that, you know, just as he is mindful of his audiences, he's also mindful of that objective to facilitate, you know, critical thinking and trust in the way he delivers his messages.
Yes. Thank you.
At least that's what I thought I heard you say.
That sounds much more. That you heard it correctly.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I was still in the background, still stuffing my face, so I'm sorry if it didn't come through as clear.
No worries, I got you. But yeah,
but I think that's what I think that's the purpose.
Although technically, and I was saying, although technically, if we take the word where, you know, 1,000 years is as a day with the Lord, that they would technically have died with. Technically,
pretty much.
They didn't live 1,000 years.
Just
messing with you. Go ahead.
But yeah, you're right. He did eat it in the day he died by that measure, by that metric. So yeah. He also died in the day he ate of it because that was the day he was cut off from the recharge. And the battery began dying. So Kenneth, you're gonna say?
I can't remember.
Okay. So this conversation dovetails very nicely in what I wanted to ask today, and was also in Isaiah. It starts also in Isaiah. But before I do that, Sharika, how's it been?
I don't know what's worse. Being sleep deprived.
Or
being sleep deprived. I don't know which one. This is Chinese torture, but I'm all right. You know, I'm here.
Hey, dog. Hey, you chose this.
You're right. You absolutely right. I definitely rolled that dice.
It's only for a season.
You fought for this.
I did. I mean, it's getting better, but I'm not sleeping anymore. That's the thing. She's sleeping more, but I'm not. I don't understand.
It's for a season.
The 1 + 1 is not equaling 2.
Yes, it doesn't.
That's it.
It doesn't.
She sleeps 7 hours. I'm still sleeping 3. She sleeps 5 hours. I'm still sleeping 3. Like, how do we move that number? But other than that, I'm better than I deserve.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, right? Isaiah 12:2. I want you to read it, Sharika, in your ESV version, because my version caused me to have a thought. But before I share my thought, I want to see what your version says.
Isaiah 12:2.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and I will not be afraid. For the Lord God is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation.
Mm-hmm. Kenrick, you have the NLT there? Is that what you're reading? Is that what you read out of daily?
Yep.
All right, Kenrick's delayed. Oh, yeah.
I'm about to say he got captured.
No, he's in a delay.
Right. Yeah, this going to delay a lot.
Can you read your whatever version you read on a daily, Kenrick? Can you read Isaiah 12:2 in that version?
Yeah, it says, see, God has come to save me. I will trust in him and not be afraid. The Lord God is my strength and my song. He has given me victory.
Mm-hmm. Cliff, you have your what's the name of that Bible? The Sefer Bible. You have
Sefer
with you there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you read it in that?
It said, sure. It says, behold, El is my Yeshua. I will trust and not be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
For Yahuwah is my strength and my song. He also is become my Yeshua or salvation.
That. Jerry, what is your daily read?
What?
ESV.
I was confused. What version is that?
Sefer Bible.
Was that Spanish?
Spanish.
No.
The Sefer Bible inserts names and phrases, transliterated names and phrases into the verses.
Yeah.
So where our version,
what Bible?
like Lord, Sefer. C-E-P-H-E-R.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got you.
I use the ESV, so that says
okay.
Oh, that's what. Okay, yeah. Well then, yeah.
That's Sharika daily read is the ESV. She don't read anything else.
I'll switch it up sometimes. So now I'm even in the I don't know if you guys will see this. The
as a Hebrew English Bible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Y'all getting real fancy. I mean, Kenrick, I don't know if we should just step our game up or just let them leave us behind, because this is getting ridiculous.
I don't know if I leave you behind because I read in the 3rd grade version, right? This is
I got the
Southeast
Bible.
This is the one Southeast would be reading,
Bible.
right? But mine says, God, you are the one who saves us. We will trust in you. Then we won't be afraid. And that flagged to me because I've read it in the other versions, right? The and I will not be afraid. It seems like, there's a relationship, but not a dependency. This then kind of made me go, is there a dependency? And so I started asking that question. What is there a relationship between faith and fear? Mm-hmm. Is the presence of fear a measurement of my faith and trust?
I don't know that the presence of fear is, but the degree to which you respond to that fear or how you respond to it, I think is reflective of your trust. I think, because here's it, thoughts are electrical impulses. Feelings are the result of chemical releases. So an electrical impulse can trigger a chemical release. So you could get a fearful thought, a frightening thought, end up with a frightening feeling. What you do with that feeling now is tied to. It's like if you walk in through the hood and you see some questionable dudes, you might start to play in your head, oh, these dudes are about to jack me. And then you remember, oh, but there's 6. I got 6 of my own goons with me, right? And then you could decide, all right, let me settle down. But if you forget that, you might, that's like, trying to save somebody from drowning and they panicking that they're going to drown. And no matter how much you tell them you're going to save them, they still panicking and then you both drown, right?
But in this, I see more confidence or lack of confidence than fear. Because if I have faith, the absence of faith is a lack of confidence that this thing can happen, as opposed to necessarily fear.
Interesting. Is the fear a derivative of the lack of confidence?
No.
I don't have confidence, so I am now afraid.
No.
Let's look at Matthew 8:26. Because after I read Isaiah, the next day I read that this was Matthew 12 was with Matthew 7. I mean, Isaiah 12 was with Matthew 7, and then on the next day was Matthew 8. So Matthew 8:26. So I just kind of went, noted, and then I read Matthew 8:26, and it would appear. Go ahead, Sharika.
And he said to them, "Why are you afraid, O you of little faith?" Then he rose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. I think
my version said, he replied, "Your faith is so small. Why are you afraid?" And it appears that Jesus is tying them together.
Sorry.
I don't think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Henry. No, go ahead.
So I'll go back to Isaiah 7. He was talking to Ahaz. Oh my gosh, my computer's so that was slow. Isaiah 7.
3.
Was it 3 where he
3 and 4.
7. No, it was verse 9. So when he's talking to him all the way at the bottom. Unless your faith is firm, I cannot make you stand firm. Right? So it kind of ties into, I think it kind of ties like you have to fully believe in this. Because if you don't fully believe in it, this thing, there's no way you're going to be able to follow through with what I've asked you to do. So you have to have like this full confidence of or in order for you to do what it is that you're supposed to do. Right? Trust, confidence. I didn't align it to fear or lack of fear, or the lack of fear, or having fear being the lack of confidence. But that seems like what's being said in Matthew.
I'm going to argue from Matthew's standpoint, and from the Isaiah 12 standpoint, that the distrust generates fear or creates space for fear. Rather, it creates space for fear.
I think it depends on how you're looking at it. I think when it comes to an interpersonal relationship, fear and lack of faith may not be the same, right? May not be confident in my own capability. For example, I may doubt whether or not I will win, but I'm not afraid to try.
Yes.
But I think
are you
in
afraid you're
this
going to
age,
lose?
no, not necessarily, because there's more than two people in here. I mean, second is the first loser in my head, so sure. But I think when it comes to interpersonal relationships, like two people, that is where the idea of faith or lack thereof could come in as a result of fear, right? So, for instance, if, like, for example, I fear big bodies of water,
Mm-hmm.
and Jared, if you tell me you swim well, and you're like, Sharika, come with me, and I'm like, absolutely no. Okay. I do not have the faith that you're going to cover me.
Mm-hmm. Distrust.
Yes. So I think the examples we're looking at is Jesus and us. And I think when I first thought about it, it was me and myself.
Mm-hmm. Faith in the other thing. But if we go to me and myself, I have enough faith in myself that I'm not afraid to try. So there is a trust there. I trust me. That's why I'm not afraid, because I trust me.
I know
even if I feel it's okay because I trust.
But I also know my probability percentage.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to Christ, you know the possibility, you don't know the probability.
Right. Yes. Which then takes it back to the idea of trust. Fear becomes a indicator of my trust level.
Fear is when I fear something, that's the possibility. If my fear meets trust, it's probability.
I think it depends on what it is. I think it depends on what it is. So for instance, like Jerry's goons example, right? So he runs up, he's walking through, he runs up on 6 goons, he's by himself, right? If I know God has told me I'm supposed to be somewhere at 10 o'clock and this happens at, like, I have something to do at 10 o'clock and this happens at 8 o'clock, because I'm confident in what that God told me I have somewhere to be at 10 o'clock, I'm not worried about anything that's about to happen, because I know whatever's supposed to happen, I'm already supposed to. So I know whatever's going to happen, I'm going to get through this situation, right? So I think it's those types of, so I think that's different than, I'm going through a situation where I'm like, I don't know how this situation is going to work out, but I know that for the past 30 days, all these different things have happened that keep allowing me to get to where I'm trying to go, right? I don't know how it's going to get there, because I literally don't know. But I know that I look back on, like, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. I'm staring down something else. I'm like, I don't know how it's going to happen. I can take the stance of, this ain't happening. Or I can look back, to patterns and be like, all right, God has already done this, 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 and this. Based upon confidence that he's led me here, I'm going to 100% stand firm and believe that this is going to happen, because he would not have brought me from this, this, and this. Now, 100% trust.
I'm now choosing to trust it. I'm choosing to trust it.
I'm choosing to trust it. Now, I can fear the result, but that fear would not be fully trusting him. And so I have to, at some point, just be like, you know what? You've done this. I have to trust that you're going to work this out. I don't know how it's going to happen, but all these things have happened, and I'm standing here at the cusp of this. and I shouldn't even been here based upon, but except you did this and you did this and you did this and you did this, right? So all that stuff is a choice, but I think you can fear the result or you can have full confidence that it's going to happen. And it may not happen.
So I discovered in processing this that in English, belief and faith are distinct concepts. Belief is mental acceptance of something.
Belief and faith?
Yes.
Okay.
Belief and faith are distinct concepts. Belief is mental acceptance of an idea. And faith is relational trust and loyalty, or has to do with relational trust and loyalty. Let me see if I get the actual definitions that I found here. Personal, belief, acceptance of something as true, trust in a person or thing. Hold on, let me get it. Let me get it. What I discovered is that in the Greek, to believe is the verb of the same word as faith, which is a noun. And that the word that translates belief and faith, the nouns, is the exact same word in Greek. So that belief, if the word believe is the action form of faith, if that makes any sense. They're essentially versions of the same thing. And our words for belief and faith are parts of what the word pistis and pistio mean. And so, how did I put it here? Let me see if I get the right phrasing here. Pistis, which is belief or faith, is belief that trusts and trust that acts. It's both. It's like pistis is belief and faith in one. What you think is true and then trusting that with your life. That's what pistis is. And that's what we are calling biblical faith. And they're tied together by that element of cognitive understanding and then trusting. Like the central idea in both of those ideas is trust. And that the word that we are translating fear is actually cowardice, because they're different words for fear. But the fear that we referenced here in Matthew 8:26 is actually cowardice, which is a posture or state, not the actual feeling of fear. Right? And so, you talked about it, Jerry. You talked about, I feel the fear, but did I act on it? There's actually a Greek word that speaks to the feeling of fear, and it is phobos. It also can be reverence, but it could be dread or awe. But this thing that we are called, that is tied to lack of faith, is now cowardice. And cowardice that is driven by lack of trust.
Lack of trust and not lack of fear?
Cowardice driven by lack of trust. Because I don't trust God, I'm afraid, which is what Isaiah 12:2 says.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid because I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you trust him enough, you're not
Got
even
you.
going to have that feeling of fear.
You're not going to have cowardice.
You're not going to have cowardice. Right.
I won't go with the feeling of fear because that's a whole different word.
Yeah,
because
but I
it's
won't
not
have
talking
cowardice.
about that. I won't be afraid.
Right.
And that fear won't lead me to action.
Yeah.
Because of trust. Which is what Jesus is now saying to Peter or whoever he was talking to in Matthew 8:26. Why is your faith so small? Your faith is small because you're afraid. Why are you so afraid? You have such little faith. The interesting thing that I found is that Revelation 12:8 says, those who don't have faith, because it says unbelieving or unbelievers, and the fearful or cowardly are the first ones in the fire. Before the murderers, before the adulterers, before the witchcraft people.
That is messed up. Wow. Yeah.
You can read it.
Yeah.
It's the ones with
Was it Revelation?
trust.
Revelation what?
Revelation 12:21 verse 8. Sorry. No. It's 21 verse 8, not 12. Revelation 21 verse 8.
It says, but as for the cowardly, that's the first one in.
And those who are like Thomas, unbelieving. Not the doubters, because we talked about this last week. This word here that we have been translating doubt is unbelief or lack of belief or refusal to believe. It's without belief.
Is the 21:8? Sorry, is 21:8 the same word that's in Matthew 8:26?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's called delios. It's delios, which is cowardly, shameful, fear, moral weakness. It's in both of those verses. Fear that causes one to abandon faith or fail to trust when it counts. Because I trust, I will not be afraid. If I am afraid, it's because I don't trust.
Wow, that's a word.
And it is just as problematic as witchcraft. I would argue even more. Well, I would go ahead and say, sure, that's all you watch me funny. But others will be thrown into the lake of fire that burns with sulfur. Those who are afraid and those who do not believe will be there. Murderers and those who make themselves impure will join them. Those who commit sexual sins, those who practice witchcraft will go there. Those who worship statues of God and all who tell lies will be there too. The lake of fire is the second death. I'm going to pull in these two comments. Fear can paralyze us. Strength does not come from ourselves, but God and our weakness who empowers us. Absolutely. That's why faith without works is dead. Yeah, I'm a lean into that. We are saved by God's grace through faith, which actually means belief, faith, and trust. That word pistis, that's saved by grace through pistis, is actually a combination of ideas. It's belief, faith, and trust combined together. Let me get another way how I discovered it. It's belief that trusts and trust that acts. So I'm saved by grace through belief that trusts and trust that acts. And then I'm rewarded for my works. because my works relieve whether I have belief that trust and trust that acts.
So what happens in those situations where people are willing to lose it all? They don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I'm willing to just roll the dice. What is that?
Those are what we call the unbelievers. Those are the I will not believe unless I see it with my own hands, which is what Thomas was.
No. Like more so like, say, some of the activities that I might partake in, right? I could die. It's possible. Run it anyway. Those type of behaviors. Where do those fall?
What
would
activities
still-
are these?
Like when I swim, like when you
On
swim
a
with
wing and a
sharks.
prayer.
Like when you swim with sharks, right? And that's I risk a lot on those type of things, right? But I kind of got a mouth to feed now, so I probably won't do as many. But you know, when you risk it, you just roll the dice. You know, it's possible that you might end your life. You know, it's possible that you might get hurt. You know, it's possible that you might have a blast. Anything is possible. I'm willing to risk it.
Yeah. So I would call those unbelievers.
Yeah, I said.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying that falls in the category of a wing and a prayer.
So do I have belief because I'm just okay with whatever? I believe whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen.
No, so
Absolutely not.
it's not just belief, right? So the belief, the what we are called to have belief that trust. I believe, if I believe, because the belief that we have had, that we're being asked to have, because it's not just belief, it's a specific belief. Belief that, and the belief is tied to, we are estranged from God. God cares enough about us to want to restore us to Him. So He's made a way for us to come back to Him. And through Jesus Christ, that way has been made. If I believe that He cares for me that much, my belief that trusts, that love, would trust His instruction to yield to His Lordship. If I choose not to yield to His Lordship because, as you said, I just roll the dice or whatever, then I don't really believe or trust in what He has done for me, or I don't care enough about it. Or because it's belief that trusts and trust that acts. So when I fail to act, I fail to believe.
But I did act. I did something.
Yeah, when I fail to act in accordance to my belief, I fail to believe.
I believe that what should happen will happen.
I
fail to believe in Him, not just believe in abstract anything. Believe it's not.
See, I'm pushing it only because I feel like one of my biggest qualms with the way people pray is like, "Thy will be done, Lord." Pick a side. Stop being a punk. That's how I feel, right? Because it's like, well, I believe in Him, and it's pick a side, right? Like, so that's where I'm struggling, because like, all right, well, I believe that He's going to make work, whatever. If I'm supposed to die today, I'm gonna die today. If I'm supposed to live today, I'm gonna live today. Like, that's where I'm.
So the struggle becomes literary and linguistic, because belief in English is limited to just cognitive understanding. Pistis is not that.
Okay.
And what we're being called to is pistis, not belief.
Okay, I can receive that.
I had
This is broader than just that.
But you see where I'm coming from with that, though?
No, I see it. And if you
Okay.
just use the English language belief, I follow it all the way.
Okay.
Because belief in English doesn't have all of that. Neither does faith in English. And we're trying to grasp with the concept of pistis.
So is it a faith in, and I might be derailing this, is it a faith in He will provide me with what is needed? Or is it a faith in he will provide me with what I need?
It's a faith in who he is and what he said. That a faith in him being faithful to who he is and what he promised, whatever that is.
If I could throw something in there, I had someone when talking about pistis put it like this: it's trusting God with your salvation, your sanctification, and your satisfaction. And if whatever you're believing is doesn't incorporate those three things, you're not actually having pistis. So if you think there's something outside of his will that will satisfy you, no pistis. If you think his work to save you isn't enough, no pistis. And if you just, how did Cliff put it, wing on a prayer, then that also isn't pistis. It's something else, but it's not pistis. I don't know if that does or doesn't help you, Sharika.
I think it made me feel horrible because I definitely don't have piscis. If those powers combined make Captain Planet, I ain't got Captain Planet. At least not overarchingly. Which makes me wonder: is faith relative or subjective, or there's levels to it, or whatever? So you kind of just screwed my brain over. Thanks, Jerry.
No problem. Anytime. Didn't mean to. But that prayer you were saying, it's kind of like the three Hebrew boys, right? Where they were like, God can, we believe he will, but even if he doesn't.
I hate that.
And just to add to the
screw up in this.
Just to add to the scrambling, you definitely just adding to the scrambling. You definitely wouldn't have Captain Planet because Captain Planet refers to Gaia. Gaia's paganism points away from pistis.
I just can't. I'm gonna go for Thanos.
Sharika.
I just can't.
When he said it, I was like mentally counting down because I was like, I'm sure she's gonna just disappear and come.
Can't do it.
Flip went all. Oh my goodness.
So I asked ChatGPT, how does the difference between, well, I asked him my question was, how does that, what happened before, impact an English speaker's understanding of pistis and pisteo? So the question before was, he answered a question about the relationship between faith and, I was asking about the difference between pistis and pisteo in the Bible. And so I learned that pistis is a noun, it's a condition, it's a faith, it's a state of being, and belief is, pisteo is belief, which is the verb, the action. So, but they're, the verb and the noun of the same idea, right? Pistis is to believe, to have faith, and pisteo is to believe, have faith. Pistis is to believe. To have faith, is faith. All right. So I asked, how does that affect? I asked. That's what I did. I said, compare and contrast faith and belief in English. Belief is acceptance that something is true or exists, and an intellectual assent to a proposition. Faith is trust or confidence in a person or thing. In English, right? The difference between belief and faith is that belief in English is intellectual, faith is relational or existential. Belief is as a focus of mental agreement with a claim. Faith in English is deep trust or confidence in something or someone. All right. Something, I believe that X is true, belief. I have faith in you, I walk by faith, faith. Belief can exist with doubt, and faith often entails commitment even amid uncertainty. Belief can be passive in English, and faith frequently implies active trust, loyalty, or risk-taking, English. So that was where my follow-up question was, how does that understanding of faith and belief impact English speakers' understanding of pistis and pisteo? So for English speakers, the difference between faith and belief in modern usage can create subtle, significant misunderstandings of the Greek word pistis and pisteo in Scripture. So English belief tends to reduce pisteo, to believe, to intellectual agreement. Modern use of belief implies mental assent to a propositional fact. I believe in gravity. I believe the earth is round. But pisteo in Greek goes beyond mere agreement. It implies trust in something or someone, relational reliance, action and commitment based on that trust. So we have to replace our definition of belief when we come into scriptural belief with that idea. It's not just mental. I believe in gravity. Another misunderstanding. Problem: if an English reader sees believe in Jesus, John 3:16, and hears only agree that Jesus exists, they miss the call to trust, surrender, and follow. Right? English faith can feel abstract or passive, but pistis is active and relational. English speakers may think of faith as a religious status, a private conviction, a virtue to possess. But pistis in the New Testament often has a relational core, trusting God's character, is tied to loyalty, fidelity, and faithfulness, involves risk and obedience, and can describe either a person's trust in God or God's reliability. English readers may read by faith and only think of a belief I hold instead of a relationship I entrust myself to, or a life lived in trust. So the English misinterpretation is I agree with this idea. The corrected understanding is I entrust myself to this person or truth to believe. Faith, my private belief, is the English misinterpretation. The corrected understanding is my lived trust in God's promises or person. And so the relationship between that and fears was what was interesting to me, right? Because if I'm afraid, it means I haven't entrusted myself to this belief, this truth or person. Well, rather, if I am cowardly, rather. And if I am unbelieving, I'm not existing in that relational. It's not just a cognitive rejection of the idea, it's the rejection of the relationship that makes me an unbeliever. Which is why they first on the list.
Rejection of the relationship. Wow. And I guess that rejection anyway is what leads to everything else on the list, right? Yeah.
So that messed with me this week. The dependency there, the tie-in. Why are you so afraid? You have little faith. You don't trust me. I think for me, that's the hard thing to acknowledge out loud, right? No, I don't trust you. No, I don't. I don't. I want to control the situation here. I want what I want. I don't trust what you are telling me. And I don't really like what you said this will become. So I need to control it. So I'm going to do this over here. Because that could never be for my good. You mad? I don't think many of us want to admit that. Let me say it. I know I struggle with saying that out loud and admitting that out loud.
I find some solace in it. Because that just means I don't really trust anybody. So God's pretty high on the top of the list. And if he just fell a little bit, then man, humans, y'all lost. Like
zero chance.
Zero.
But you can see that's where sin started, right in the garden. They did not trust. They did not trust.
I don't know. Sin started out of curiosity.
No.
Yeah, and lack of trust.
Again, if you were trusting only satisfaction, you would not need to be curious because you know.
See, but you just entered into a chat with trifecta, right?
Mm,
I think what were the three you said? Satisfaction,
salvation, and sanctification.
Satisfaction is a very interesting one because I feel like salvation, boom, that's easy. Throw me the pool, no problem, right?
Mm.
And I'm not saying that to be facetious. I'm saying that feels like the easy one. Sanctification, it's gonna take some time, but I'm working on that, right? Satisfaction, though, when you have tasted the devil's meat, right? I may never arrive at being satisfied. Satisfied to me is a very interesting idea. Like, because I can follow God and not be satisfied, but know that that is what I need to do. And if I'm sitting around waiting for satisfaction, I feel like I would get discouraged because I'm just like, I've been outside and I know what it feels like to be in the street, to be on the curb, and to be on the stoop, right? And you telling me I gotta stay inside. Like, this is madness. And I should be happy that I'm staying inside. And so the trifecta is that's nasty work. That's nasty work.
Trust me, when I heard it, I felt the exact same way. And then I started to think back to because the minute you say it's a satisfaction, people assume it's something salacious, right? But even safety we can be satisfied with safety. We much rather do what's safe. Why do most the people who go to church we go through are pretty satisfied to just be indoors, hear a good sermon, and not go out and witness to a soul? It's safe. It ain't controversial. It ain't, you don't have to take a stance between party A or party B. None of that stuff. And so you're satisfied to be in this safe space. And then if God challenges you, I need you to step out. I need to leave this career that you made a good career, a good livelihood for yourself, whatever. Now I need you to switch gears entirely. You're like,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I was joking with the salacious comment, but like I also find that people who are satisfied to be annoying to me. And so I have to redefine satisfaction, right? Like I just feel like then you're just like complacent, right?
You might even be settling, right?
Right. And just weird, right? And so I think it's a matter of like rediscovering the word satisfaction.
Yeah.
Redefining
because
it.
I don't even know if it's redefined. Like I feel like
I like the rediscover because we might have actually lost what it really
means, right? Yeah. Like I feel like redefining it means like I'm trying to make something. No, I feel like I gotta rediscover it because I really find 99.2% of the people that I know who tell me they're satisfied annoy me.
How do you come up with these fractions by just arbitrary 99.2?
I was like, out of 10 people,
99.2. Yeah. Okay.
I was like, there might be one, and there's like a maybe one person that I'm okay to know that like they said, yeah, I'm satisfied. Like, word, cool. I received that, right? Like everybody else, I'm just like, house where you're still dead broke, naked, wanting half. How does this work? Right? Like,
yeah.
Shout out Jay-Z. But like it's just I can't, or even like, oh, I'm satisfied with my relationship with God. How, sway? You're still not even reading in the native language, in the native tongues of the Bible. Like you just settling. Like your ignorance is bliss for you. And so that it's a hard word for me to accept from people.
Let's go to Philippians chapter 3. Verse,
like Cliff, I'm not satisfied with that ice cream cone. I need something else. Even something nice.
And that is it right there. If that is not an information-rich illustration, this ice cream is not enough. I need something else.
I need something else. He's something sweet, something nice.
Philippians what? 3?
Philippians 3:7 through 11. Oh, 7 through 10. We could stop at 10. No, 11. 7 through 11.
Who reading? Me?
The reader.
Oh,
The
you see, this
reader
what happened when
reach.
Courtney
The
come
reader
late.
reach.
Courtney, hello, hi.
The reader reaches.
And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Courtney. This whole this lateness, this not gonna work. Anyway, what am I saying? But whatever gain I had, I count as a loss for the sake of Christ. Indeed, I count everything as loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Jesus. No, with knowing Christ Jesus my Lord. For his sake, I have suffered the loss of all things and count them as rubbish in order that I may gain Christ and be found in him, not having the righteousness of my own that comes from the law, but that which comes from faith in Christ, the righteousness from God that depends on faith, that I may know him and the power of his resurrection and may share his sufferings, becoming like him in his death. By any means possible, I may attain the resurrection from the dead.
Is that enough for you? Is that enough for me?
I mean, in theory, but in practice, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, there are things like, I think I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I was like, I can say this, when you have kids later on in life, it's crazy. When you have kids later on in life, I feel like I have patience, but I don't have stamina. Right. And like, I don't miss certain things. Like, oh my gosh, Rika, you miss Juve. Rubbish. Right. Like, it just doesn't matter. Right. Like, because I gained a gift of seeing this young person do XYZ. Right. And so over time, I think these things make sense. I want to grow from the fact of like, I really wanted to go somewhere and I shouldn't, and I didn't get to go. And then, like, let's say the party was crashed early and I'm like, yes, glad no one else got to enjoy it. Like, like I want to get past that. And I don't consider it FOMO, but it's more so like rejoicing in everybody else's demise, for lack of a better term. I think we all are guilty in that in some cases. So I think in theory, yeah. I think in practice, yeah. I don't know if I want to share in his sufferings. I don't know. I don't know if we need to go to that extent. Like, how far are we going here? Like, are we getting lashings? Like, what are we doing? And I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I mean, I'm being funny, but in general, like, Jesus suffered a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think we realize how much from hunger and thirst and isolation and rejection and loneliness and lack of friends or trust in like there's a lot of stuff there.
And betrayal over and over again.
Isolation to the point of Satan showing up and being like, hey, what up, homie? Like,
my man. That is wow.
It's been a minute. Like Jared and I used to laugh when people would ask us, would you have dinner with Satan? Yeah, I talk to that man every day. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no different if we go to dinner. Like, we were just at lunch. But to really think about it, most of us tell us the devil finds time for idle hands. If our hands are idle long enough, we fall into problems. But for him to pull up on you, like, that level of suffering is a little different. I don't know if that's necessary. I don't know how I feel about that. If all you people out there,
you just scrambled. So you return the favor. Thanks, Rika. I appreciate you.
As long as our relationship is equally yoked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's reciprocal. Yeah.
I think we focus so much on like just like dying on the cross, right? Or like the end piece. And it's just like from jump, that man was just suffering some of the most psychologically damaging things that happen to humans. Things that people go to therapy for years for.
Oh, Jesus should have been in therapy. You think about his upbringing.
Right. Like
His parents leave him when he was 12. They forget him.
you know what I'm saying?
You realize every birthday or anything after that, when they're trying to tell him how much they love him and how much he means to them, he'd be like,
lies, propaganda.
You was how many days up the road before you realize I was gone?
Propaganda. I don't
and
believe
that's a problem that just perpetuated, because like when he went back and people are like, miracles, ain't he that carpenter? Man, forget him, right? And he couldn't do much miracles there because of their lack of
propaganda. You don't love me. Yes, I do. Lies. You didn't even remember I existed. The argument done right there. You know, it done.
And then Peter tried the same thing. Lord, I will die for you.
Lies.
Before the
sun
come up in the morning.
Don't know this so and so, man. Yeah. Or Judas come a friend and put a kiss on him. It's like,
yo, I was in my worst moment and my friends couldn't even stay up and pray with me.
Correct.
Couldn't even pray with me.
Don't even go that far. I'm sitting here eating dinner, and y'all know I know one of y'all about to betray me. Y'all still out here breaking bread. This is madness. You know, I told you I know.
Yeah.
I told you I know, and I still sit at that table. Right? Like, madness.
So we started talking about satisfaction and rediscovering satisfaction, and it made me think about these verses in Genesis 39 verses 20 to 23. And I remember asking this question back in the day. So verse 20 says, Courtney, I want to hear your voice, man.
Courtney's tired. Courtney is burning the midnight.
Okay, all right. I'm
ready. What's that? So Genesis
39, 20 to 23.
29, 30, 32.
No, 20 to 23. 39, 20 to 23.
All right. All right. So this is about Yosef. So he put Joseph in prison. It was the place where the king's prisoners were kept. While Joseph was there in the prison, the Lord was with him. He was kind to him. So the man running the prison was pleased with Joseph. He put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners. He made him responsible for everything down there. The man who ran the prison didn't pay attention to anything in Joseph's care. That's because the Lord was with Joseph. He gave Joseph success in everything he did.
That's a smack in my face. Instead of you let me out, you put me in charge of my own prison. You don't move off my face. Hold, please.
Follow up that, Courtney, with Deuteronomy 31, verse 6, verse 8, and verse 23.
Okay, so Deuteronomy 31, verse 6 reads, "Be strong and brave. Don't be afraid of them. Don't be terrified because of them. The Lord your God will go with you. He will never leave you. He'll never desert you." Then verse 8 says, "The Lord himself will go ahead of you. He will be with you. He will never leave you. He will never desert you. So don't be afraid. Don't lose hope." And you said 13, or was it
23?
23. Okay, so 23 reads, all right. "The Lord gave a command to Joshua, the son of Nun. He said, 'Be strong and brave. You will bring the Israelites into the land I promised them. I myself will be with you.
Satisfaction. God's presence is enough.
Wow.
Enough to keep me from being afraid. Because he promised to be with me. He's not going to take me out of the jail, but he can be with me in the jail, and that is enough. No, it's not. I'm sorry. I wish, but it's not. But it should be. And that's what he's saying.
Yep.
Rediscovering satisfaction to God's presence, knowing that God is with me.
Well, his presence and his provision, because I mean, he gave them manna, right? And they were like, we wanted them onions and leeks and quail, and so the manna should have been enough. But it's like, you remember that barbecued quail used to taste? Jerk quail, come on.
I wouldn't go with provision. Here's why I wouldn't go with provision. Because he provided for Joseph in the prison, but he didn't take him out of the prison. And so the question now becomes, well, how is he providing? And am I okay with whatever his provision is? Right? It now becomes a reframing of provision. Because if I'm sitting waiting on him to provide relief,
then
I missed what he's doing for me because he's here with me in this.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is usually the case, right? Because sometimes we want God to take us out to the prison, not realizing his solution is being with you in. Yeah.
And you're there for the jailer and his family. Yeah. That is why you're in jail, right?
It's not about you.
So I have provided for you, right?
Yeah.
By being present with you. My presence is my provision.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't also some of that time being spent there, he was being trained for
provision, right?
Right.
Giving you experience, preparing you for the next thing. Provision.
Right.
Them brothers being mean to you, it's provision. Remember, I am with you, so don't be afraid. I'm here. There's no Jerry, that's your 6 goons with you, right? I am here. You don't have to be afraid. Right? Trust me, you don't have to be afraid.
I got this. Yeah.
Which is what Deuteronomy is saying, right? Which then comes back to this idea of relational trust. And that pistis is tied up in that relational trust. And that you want to measure your trust? You want to measure how much you really trust him? Yep. Check your fear meter.
What is your fear factor? If it's here, you have a problem.
You have an opportunity to fix something. It's almost like, and you think about because we read it in Matthew, the Jesus said, "I've not seen such great faith in all of Israel." When the centurion said, "I'm a man under authority, you do that, and so I'm good." He wasn't afraid. He was confident and trusted Jesus' authority. He was fully confident and fully trusted Jesus' authority. And so he acted in that. And he postured in that. A lot of this is, I'm discovering, is more posturing than momentary movements. It's what is my posture? Do I exist in a posture of trusting relationship? Because that's what Jesus' example is.
I think that's the problem. Because I don't think most of us exist in that posture. It's kind of like,
I would give us a blind and say the language does that to us. If we define in faith and belief in English terms,
yeah,
right, that will keep us from ever getting there. And if we then say fear is normal, it will also keep us from getting there. And if we don't see the challenge as being trust, that will also keep us from getting there. Man, this messed me up this week. I just, because I think a lot of my more recent issues with God is dissatisfaction. I was doing a therapy session, and my counselor had me go through these 5 values, and my values are, hold on, I'm gonna pull them because I don't remember them off the top of my head, right? But I have them saved so I can pull them at a moment's notice, because they're important to have on hand. Oh, my stupid phone doesn't respond the way that it's supposed to at times. Push the button and then nothing happens. And you know what Jared didn't do? He didn't save it as a favorite. So now he has to scroll through all his pictures to find it.
Bro, that's why you got what is it? The Notes app, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it was an image.
Yeah, no, that's what I do. I pull images into it, so at least I could.
So flexibility, the ability to adapt to environment, situations, or changes. Independence, the ability to be self-directed when one's thoughts or actions. Order, adherence to a system, protocol, or code. And this one, pleasure, being defined as enjoyment, delight, satisfaction, or fulfillment. And then relationships, connections between and among people. And I'm realizing that feeling of dissatisfaction or not being fulfilled in my pleasure value is creating a source of friction between me and God.
Good thing is, now
Now I know.
Yeah.
That I need to reframe to His presence is enough.
And trust me,
in His presence, and I don't know.
I feel like that. I feel like that's something, because I've been through that. You've been through that. So many people I know and respect have been through that, and I feel it's like it's something He does so that He could trust us with more and different. That's just how I feel. Because it's like, if I give you more and different now, you might. So let me rewire you a little bit, and then
perhaps, and then there's the thorn, right?
And then there's the thorn too. Yeah.
Then there's the thorn. My grace is sufficient. Do you need that? You really need that? You think you need it, but do you?
Yeah, boy. And then the salt on the wound for me is when again messing with Uncle Chat, and it connected what is that thing about entering into heaven? It's better to enter into heaven lame and halt.
Oh God, no! I want both my legs. I want to be able to run and play basketball.
I'm saying,
cutting off my leg. I want to play basketball here and in heaven.
I'm saying, right? So yeah. That was also unhelpful, but man.
Anyway, we're a little bit after 10.
Yeah.
Did we lose Kenrick altogether?
It was a good way to wind down the year, though.
Yeah. It was indeed. So, Courtney, how long have you been with us here? This is going on, what, 3 years, 4 years? 5?
I think so.
Longer than that, because Courtney was with us before I was, right?
I think
we came in around the same time.
Around the same time? Okay.
Yeah, because I remember I started doing Bible studies with the other group. It was like 2018, I think. And then maybe joined this a little after, but it's definitely like
during COVID or after COVID.
Yeah. Because
it was
you
before
didn't
COVID.
have anything, and then you wanted to start doing it because that was like this is the first time y'all started doing virtual.
Yeah.
So I was definitely there for the day one virtual. Didn't know what that was going to look like.
Yeah, that was before COVID. Yeah. Woo. So that's almost 6 years, Courtney.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. So
yeah, I told me it was going to be like that. I was like, what? But yeah.
Oh, talk to me. about 6 years here, closing out year 11. Reflections, the experience.
In that time, I've become a father.
And so, how has that impacted that?
This
Yeah.
got both my babies here, watching them. But man, I just think that it's been a lot of good for me, understanding the word, really understanding the word, because we go so much into real studying of a lot of the words. I mean, you guys just briefly mentioned that, man, and understanding our English language, what we primarily speak, and the Bible not written in that way per se. So a lot of the nuances of English and just being American and being in this culture, and just I kept remembering the early parts of doing this was, you're putting so much of your own perspective on this, and so I had to kind of learn to do the opposite. Like you used to tell me, let that word talk to me, versus I'm over here putting my own meanings and my own things on it. And I guess the next part is just when I share the word with other people, when I'm just talking about discussing different things, I just find myself kind of pulling from different conversations that we had. It's always just like, oh man, we talked about this here, whatever. So I always find myself kind of sharing what I learned from our discussions, and it's like always I could always find some part of. So it's always very, just helpful to me. It's just been a gem to do that, And I think the last thing too, Bible, going to church, any church, watching online, any sermon, any pastors talked about, man, I always find myself kind of
Pushing back on them.
Yeah, pushing back in my mind. I'll be like, man, if one of you guys was in here, you probably would say this, or right, exactly. So I laugh and I'm like, okay, I like what they did, and I found myself, oh man, I'm going to go look that up. I'm going to read that again. Like, but it's dope, man. I find myself not going to church, not going to these sermons, looking for them to maybe teach me as much as I'm going there for the conversation. And there's something that I read already, and now I'm looking, oh, this is somebody else's perspective. And, how does that match with mine? Or, so I'm always just looking at it like that now. I think when I was younger, I used to go to church too. I'm going to go receive a word. Now I'm like, all right, we read this thing back for a couple of years now. And now I'm just like, all right, what other perspective on this story or something, so again, I kind of make them into this, what we're doing in my mind. That's what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, this is your perspective. Okay. All right. I like that. All right. And so that's what happens to me. Like, so I'm a forever changed in that way.
That's good to hear, man. I glad to hear that. Jerry, talk to me. I know you came in, we invited you to join one conversation, and then you just kind of been regular. What's this experience been like for you, and how long has it been?
I think it's about the same length of time as Courtney, and I have to add to what he said there about just the way it's changed how you share, you interact, you learn, because it's actually made me a better student, I think, of the word. Because here goes that magic word. I think at one point in time I was semi-satisfied. Oh, I know enough. I figured this thing out. I got this. And then God is like, have you though? And in becoming a better student, it's also made me a better teacher, right? Because now you listen and you understand where people are coming from. I tell you, this is probably the first experience where, and it happens a lot, we'll start off having a discussion. All of us might be at somewhat different views, and then we coalesce by and large around one thing, and everybody's learned something. Everybody's like, yeah, I could receive that. And I think that is something I now go out. So like I have to take up youth Sabbath school tomorrow. So I'm trying to, like Courtney said, introduce that type of approach and learnings into just dealing with them. Because I feel like that's something we miss in church a lot, where it's just like, this is the way it is, and there's no discussion around the hard topics, right? So yeah, it's definitely been a blessing, man.
Cliff, I know you're out there in the ether there somewhere.
Yes, I'm here. I'm still here.
Tell me about
I'm in the
southeast
section of the kingdom.
Say it again. What is this experience being a part, going on this journey with us? What has it been like for you?
It has definitely challenged me to read the word and reread the word and reread the word, and then move on to different versions and translations. Just like Jerry said, it has absolutely made me a better student of the word. Dare I say, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the thing that it has done the most for me, kind of goes along with what has been said, is it's really helped me to like kind of really dive into it, pick at it, and try to seek the understanding. Whereas at first I just kind of glossed over.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And even though we've been doing this for a long time, it seems like every time I read this, I'm seeing something just a little differently. Like I've read these books, I don't know how many times now, but I still see something different. And I think it's just at different points in my journey, I'm starting to understand more. I often say that yourself and Carlson Griffin has always been two people that I admire. That I just think that somewhere in you guys' brain, this thing just clicked. Like God put this in front of you all, and this thing just seemed to click for you all. It has not really clicked so well for me. Talking to you and talking to Carlson, it's like y'all. It's like I don't know. It's weird, man. When I say something, it's like, oh yeah. That's in Philippians so and so, so that matches up with so and so and this and that. And I'm like, I'm still not there yet.
It's this right there.
I got you. I hit whatever method you are using. I think I'm just going to have to suck it up through osmosis or just be in the presence, because
I don't know why. So
yeah,
I found that so what happens with me is I read the Bible and I use a highlighter every time something stands out. And so after a while, when you read through the same Bible again, and you see the same highlighting, that's when it starts to stick by, just frequency. So
maybe I should.
So the highlighter is where, so you remember what section of the page it was on where you highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it was somewhere in here, so around that day, down in the corner on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
And then you remember the next time you go for it, that was 1 Corinthians 7. So you try and associate 1 Corinthians 7 down on the right side of the Bible and the highlight, and even it will draw your eye to it. Right? So that's what that's this highlighter thing has done that for me.
Every time I get a new version of the Bible, I'll be like, I've already marked this up in the other Bible, and I don't mark it. And I think I should start doing that.
Yeah.
Just marking and remarking and marking. Yes.
Whatever stands out.
Thank you.
Sometimes I don't highlight because I remember that from before. So it's whatever is standing out in this season, and sometimes it's be the same things over and over, but other times it's be I'm gonna take this comment from Mezzo, who says, I've been a part of this for a long time when it was at RPC, every other time online or in person. I have shared before I would miss the in-person, always felt like I missed a lot. Now I get to be a regular part of this. What I like the most is a non-judgmental environment that fosters learning and growth through dialogue. I feel comfortable to share and ask questions when something is not clear to me. I am grateful. Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. I will say that Kenrick and this programming has messed up my church experience. I used to be one who used to like to go and sit and raise my hand and sing and get caught up in the music and things.
Right.
Now I'm like, when can we talk again?
Exactly.
Now I go to church for Sabbath school because that's when I get to talk. That's when we get to talk, not me. When we get to interact and share ideas, and I have a whole new value for Sabbath school, and I participate in the worship service because I realize everybody is not in the same place that I am in, and there's value in what the worship service is, and so being a part of that with other people is important. Even though I would like to go back upstairs and talk, but I just, I value the interaction differently.
What you call that? Would you call that didactic?
I value the discourse.
There you go.
Sharon said, I'm tickled that I was there at the beginning and I'm still drawn to and challenged to read, study, memorize the word more. Oh boy. Amen, amen, and amen. Yeah, man. I am grateful for all of you guys who've been journeying, for participating, for sharing, for making this meaningful, and for any and all benefits that you have derived. I remember when God put this in our hearts, Kenrick and I, when we were just doing AY. It was something we bought into but weren't completely sold, and then 11 years later, we are true believers in the methodology of this, and it's supposed to be open source that anybody and everybody can share and take and borrow and use. It's never meant to be exclusive or whatever. It's supposed to be open source. Take it, borrow it, use it wherever you go, and teach others the same way. Whatever benefits you derive, you pass it on, you share it. That's always been the vision. So to watch, to sit in the Bible study, Jerry, with Courtney, where he was a leader, and watch how the people gravitated to how he was managing the word, and doing that was truly a blessing. Listening to how you've adjusted your whole study style, and it's impacting the spaces that you show up in. It's also been a blessing. So I'm grateful for you guys for spending your Friday nights here with us for these number of years, and for desiring to want to come back to participate. So, and you, Cliff, I have to say, I must say it out loud on this. When you were doing your men's ministry, and then you started to include what we were doing as part of that, and then showing up here, at the season when that was happening, I don't know. I want to say thank you for allowing God to use you. Because
thank you, brother. Thank you.
It buoyed me up and kept me on, kept me participating. So I'm very much indebted and appreciative of you and what God used you to do for me personally. So much appreciated.
Fondness to share, brother. Fondness to share. You said that.
Go ahead.
You said that it is, what is it? It's belief that it's trust. It's belief that is trust, and a trust that is action.
Pistis is well, let me get it right. It's pistis is a combination of belief and trust. Let me get it.
Belief in a trust, and a trust that acts.
Yes. Believe that trust, and trust that acts. Yes.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
So it's not that I piss you, or I piss her, or I piss them. I piss us. I pissed us. Right?
Piss this.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Pistis is different, and that's different from pisteo, which is more than pistamonto and pistiero and centrio. It's pisteo, right?
Yeah.
In the end, we just don't want to be pissed off, right?
No, we don't want to be pissed off.
We don't want to be, wow.
We don't want to be pissed off, because that's unbelief. When you don't have your piss off, This is
Hey,
all.
listen, you gotta make it make sense to you, and then you locks in.
Mm-hmm,
Right.
mm-hmm.
So thank you for pissing us.
Yeah. I can't take credit for it, but I guess you're welcome. But what I will ask you is that if you could lead us in a closing out prayer, unless you guys wanted to, thank you for your takeaways from the program, but is there a takeaway from tonight's episode that you wanted to share?
I just shared mine.
Now going back to that whole the way you broke it down with the I took the note. Believe that trust and trust that acts. Yeah, because it puts it together nicely for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I could share.
I will share this entire chat in the chat so that you guys can read up on it and check it out on your own time. Check out the word study, see what I asked, see what it says, push back, challenge, study deeper, whatever. I tend to trust Mr. Chat because of the language component of the questions, and being able to more readily than I am able to process the natural language of the scriptures, and harness a whole lot of other scriptural information. I tend to at least lean into the language part of it. Anyway, Cliff, would you lead us in prayer to close out?
Sure. So, Heavenly Father, once again, we thank you for drawing us to another session of Water for the Thirsty. By virtue of the fact that we are here, you have answered prayers to bring us to another session. And now we humbly ask that you will continue to be within our hearts and our minds. May your spirit draw us closer to you as we draw closer to each other. May the faith that we talked about tonight be more prevalent in our lives. May we then show that to others, and by all means, never let us be stumbling blocks to anyone that is trying to get to you, but rather stepping stones that your spirit may use us. Forgive us our sins. We'll be ever grateful to give you all praise, honor, and glory. In Yahushua's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. August has 5 Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
So we will meet again on the 15th, which will be the way we kick off year 12. And then it'll be a few weeks before we meet again on September 5, the Labor Day weekend. So just bear that in mind. August 15, we're here again, and then we're off for an extra week because there's a 5th Friday in August. August 15. August 15 is the next one, every first and third Friday. Language can be so limiting. I see the value in studying with the original language included. Faith is more than belief.
Faith is more than belief. All right, Miss.
Faith includes belief and action and trust, and at least biblical faith. Let's call it that, biblical faith. English faith is a whole different faith. So yeah. Maybe we should start borrowing those Greek words into our language so that they become what they mean. Maybe we should stop talking about having faith and have pistis. No, maybe not.
my Bible just says, I'm gonna stay with my Sifa, man. The Greek words gonna mess me up.
But no. And with that, we're gone.
Yes, sir.
See you next time. Beginning of year 12. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Have a good
Drink
weekend.
up, right?
Drink up.